Thom Hartmann Program.
And welcome back. Thom Hartmann here with you. And Senator Sherrod, we're going to get to Anything Goes Friday here in just a few minutes, but Senator Sherrod Brown is on the line with us. He's introduced a new bill to the Highway Trust Fund is about to expire. And Senator Brown, welcome back to the program.
Good to be back. Thanks. I've said this before, but I love your newscast.
Thank you. Please set this up for us. The Highway Trust Fund is expiring. You're proposing to do something about that. What's the situation? What's your solution?
The problem is that we used to have the best infrastructure the world had ever seen, and it's from World War II into the Reagan years, but into the beginning of the Reagan years when we decided to stop investing in public facilities the way we used to. And when I say infrastructure, I mean way more than highways and bridges. It's highways, bridges, it's water, it's sewer, it's airports, it's locks, it's ports, it's community colleges, it's medical research. And we have just not disinvested, but did so much less as a nation. And it's why, or in many ways, why we've run into so many of the economic problems we have. Now, the Highway Trust Fund, because it hasn't kept up with public investment with the gas, because of the gas tax, is going to, it will expire, and it will not nearly have, even if we renew it, not nearly have nearly enough money to even meet the obligations, the diminished obligations and expectations of the next couple of years. So we need to pass a long-term 6-year transportation bill. We need to fund it now, begin to fund it now. One of the ways of doing that is my bill on something called misclassification, where a number of thousands of contractors around the country, most of them do it right, but thousands of contractors will, in construction and transportation and healthcare especially, have people working for them that they call private contractors, so they don't have to pay their Social Security or their Medicare tax or unemployment tax or workers' comp tax to avoid, and it saves those companies money. But it's not fair to competitors that are doing it right, which most are, and it's certainly not fair to the workers that end up with a short end. And it would, if we close that loophole, it'll bring several $1 billion over the next few years to help with the Highway Trust Fund.
Sounds like an entirely reasonable thing. Why are the Republicans going to oppose it? As I'm guessing they will.
Oppose it because the big contractor lobbies have a lot of members that this would cost them money because they're not playing fair. I mean, they have members that are playing it straight. And there's divisions in these groups because the ones that are playing it straight are losing out competitively, in some cases, to those that are pocketing money that ought to go to workers' comp or ought to go to Social Security, ought to go to Medicare, and ultimately should be paid in taxes for the trust fund. But it's a loophole we should close. I'm hopeful that enough contractors that are playing it straight will step up and push their Republican members of Congress saying, this is only fair. It will mean a better workforce. It will mean more competitive businesses, and it will mean a better economy.
Isn't there also a secondary agenda here that some of the billionaires who are funding many congressional candidates for both the House and the Senate are basically libertarians? The Koch brothers probably be the most prominent among them, and they simply believe that they don't want to pay anything more in taxes to fund the infrastructure of this country, and B, it's really not the job of government to do things like roads. Roads should be privatized. Turn them all into toll roads. Turn them over to, one of these giant Australian companies that runs toll roads all over the world. That kind of thing.
Yeah, I think it's all that. I mean, never underestimate the first of all the control of the Republican Party increasingly by the Koch brothers and Koch brother lookalikes and wannabes, people that believe in absolute minimal role of government. And when you say minimal role, you're not even counting transportation, as you say. Number of people. One of the problems with the transportation bill in the Senate earlier, in the House, was that a number of Republicans don't think there's a federal role at all for transportation. I don't know how they explain the airports. I don't know how they explain the interstate system, but I don't know how they explain a lot of things. Yeah. But their view is always privatization. I mean, so much of what happens in the Congress now is driven by the whole idea of privatization. I mean, look at Senator Sanders' leadership on the Veterans Committee. I'm on the conference committee with him and have seen him up close on this and what their mission, the Republicans' mission on the veterans' VA problems is privatize it, privatize it, privatize it. just like they want to privatize Social Security and Medicare. Any opportunities they get, that's where they go, because they fundamentally don't like social insurance, and they particularly don't like a government program that actually works, as the VA has provided very good health care every year to 6.5 million veterans. And overwhelmingly, those 85 million patient visits over the course of a year are very satisfactory to the great majority of veterans.
Right, right. What are the other issues that you're dealing with right now, Senator? We're talking with Senator Sherrod Brown, his website, brown.senate.gov. What are the other issues that you're dealing with that you think are of great consequence to the American people?
Well, I'm pushing the administration on enforcement of trade rules on a whole host of issues, but especially the South Koreans now are dumping, and as you know, Tom, dumping means subsidizing, dumping steel in the U.S. market. It's what's called the oil country tubular steel. It's the steel pipes that are used for very high pressure drilling. So it's for gas and oil. It's a very resilient, strong, and the strongest kind of high tech steel. And the Koreans don't even have a domestic market. They literally don't drill at all. So their entire production is for export, and most of it to the U.S. U.S. steel workers are paid almost the same as Koreans. Their wages come up in Korea. Our mills are every bit or more modern than the Koreans. The transportation of this steel production, these tubes, these pipes, are just miles away versus thousands of miles away like the Koreans. Yet the Koreans are underpricing because they're not playing it straight. And the enforcement of trade rules, the administration's been generally better than this president's predecessors, but still not good enough, and we're pushing them hard on this.
And other issues?
Yeah, that's it. I mean, it's generally funding issues. I mean, it's how do we do infrastructure? How do we do medical research? How do we try to increase Social Security? Because increasingly people have only that to rely on. Half the population has no real retirement income except for Social Security, and those are the people at the bottom of the wage scale whose Social Security checks are generally the smallest, $1,000 or $1,200 a month instead of $2,000 a month like an upper income person may have. So all of those issues of what do you do about inequality, they really start with wages and a minimum wage increase and better paying middle class jobs and more manufacturing. And they ripple all the way through to retirement savings and helping people that are sort of in the middle or in the bottom half, most of whom have worked every bit as hard as anybody else, and giving them a break when they retire.
Right. It's good stuff. It's good stuff that you're doing, Senator Brown, and we really appreciate it. What do you think about? We just have a minute left. I'm curious your thoughts on John Boehner's threat to sue the president. Is this impeachment version 2.0?
It's impeachment because they don't want to do impeachment. It's just ludicrous. First of all, it's an incredible waste, entirely a waste of taxpayers' money. Second, they always forget to point out that this president has used executive orders significantly fewer times than I believe all his predecessors, and notably
since Grover Cleveland.
Times than Reagan. They forget that. But also, why don't they just pass a minimum wage so the president doesn't have to do this? Why don't they move on immigration so the president doesn't have to do this? So he has the power to do it. Congress has given him the power to do these things. These guys just, any way they can find to attack Obama helps them with their base, helps them increase the anger of their base to get them out to vote.
Well, and I think my personal opinion is that there's a piece of this is, the birtherism died out. He's not legitimate president, and so now they're saying he's not legitimate acting.
It's a good way to say it. Yeah, it's ongoing.
It's very unfortunate.
Right up until inauguration, 2017, undoubtedly.
Yeah. Senator Sherrod Brown, thanks so much for being with us, sir.
Sure, we'll do it again. Thanks, Tom.
Indeed. Brown.senate.gov. We'll be right back.